Good day, everyone. It's me, it's Key, and welcome back to my channel. I took a little bit of a break. I was getting my things together. I had a beautiful transition into a new place of employment that I'm happy to be at. And it's just been, a transitioning period, just trying to get acclimated. But anyway, I'm glad that I was able to do that. And now it's time to get back onto our regularly scheduled programming. Um, Today I wanted to talk a little bit about just how, I'm navigating through my neck of the woods in regards to this reality. It's a lot of things that are going on. It's a lot of energy that is, floating around here, especially with the eclipse coming up very shortly. Um, I have been hyper vigilant, very aware, almost having an out of body experience in regards to certain things that I am, experiencing at this time. I'm more spiritually heightened about certain things, and it's even getting to the point where, I'm questioning myself, like, am I going crazy? I know I'm not going crazy. The energy is just shifting, the veil is lifting, and those that have eyes to see will see. And that's the energy that we're getting into in regards to all of these transits happening. I think at some point everybody is going to be questioning their mental state and stability with the things that are to come and all of the revelations that we will be met with. However, I'm doing my very best to remain grounded in this space, in my headspace and emotionally and so on and so forth. Though I do feel as though I'm like defeating the last master. And that's the best way that I can put it. I feel like I'm defeating the last master in a lot of things or lessons that I was to learn in this particular phase of my journey. I've been being, excuse me, I've been met with a lot of consistent energy, to say the least, of things that I have encountered through, you know, the time that I've been here on this earth. And it brings me such pleasure and joy to know that I'm able to spot certain things at the door, before they even make it in, and just gracefully turning it away from me, because that's not something I want to bring into the latter end of my experience. There are other things for me to experience in this existence rather than the same repeating cycles. So I'm doing the work that I need to do on my end to notice those things and turn them away. Now, slightly been questioning myself, just in the sense of, okay, well, that was obvious, right? Key, like that was obvious. It is not like it was covert or anything. That was very obvious. So, did you really learn what you were supposed to learn? And the answer is yes. It's obvious because we've been there. When I say we, me, it's obvious, because I've been there with other people. It may look different. The packaging may be different, but it's obvious because we've already lived it. It's obvious because it is familiar. So, yes, the fact that it's obvious lets me know that I'm moving in the right direction. And those things that maybe were not so obvious to me before, um, you know, I'm meeting them at the door and turning them away gracefully. And that's been a beautiful part of this journey that I've been on. I look forward to having different experiences, you know, certain experiences that I'm calling forth that vibrate at a different frequency and energy. And I'm preparing for that internally to accept it and just doing my best to not get drawn into familiarity and comfortability when it comes to the experiences that I want to have. I often stagnate in places that feel safe, even when it's turmoil. And it's sad to say, but I think a lot of people do that. They just would rather deal with the devil that they know rather than to move forward into something else, to be tricked again or to be unaware, and the situation tends to be unassuming, and then you go in with full vulnerability that this is better, this is different, and you're let down so deeply where you have to pick yourself up and dust yourself off. So, just maintaining my energy and the things that I want to experience in this next phase of my life, and how I want that to portray itself to me, not through my triggers, but through the possibilities of what could be. I don't want to live out my traumas anymore, or live out my triggers, and so on and so forth. Like, I'm just over that. you know it may seem boring on the other end for most people, because it's like if you're not on that roller coaster of emotions, you feel as though it's so unfamiliar to the fact that it's boring. It almost feels as though you're like staring at a blank wall because you're not on a roller coaster of emotions. But I feel as though that's only because our understanding of emotions are very trivial, and we don't have the words to express other emotions outside of, the basics: anger, sadness, happy, excited, elated. Like, we sadness, we don't have any other words to describe the things that we possibly have never felt, or no one has ever put a name on for us. So it seems as though it's just a blank canvas and it is yet to be filled in. But that's what I'm looking forward to, filling in those emotional spaces that maybe I never knew that there was a term for. I never knew that, you know, it doesn't fall within the category of being happy. It doesn't fall within the category of being sad or distraught or angry. It falls in a totally different category in and of itself, and it is something to be experienced in totality and fullness. I like that. But that's more so what I'm looking forward to in this next phase of life. I feel as though it's going to be a very beautiful experience, and I'm lucky to be here to have it. There was times where I felt so sorrowful within myself that, it just felt like maybe I had experienced all of the good, or all of, let me not say good, let's find better words. I felt as though I experienced everything that was complementary to my wants and complementary to my desires, that maybe that's why I was experiencing so many contrasting events, things that didn't necessarily align with what I desired. Like maybe I already fulfilled that portion of it, to where I was subconsciously taking myself through the lack thereof. Who knows? Every day I'm learning something different. And every day I'm learning more about myself, the people around me, the experiences that I'm having. They've been, to say the least, very, very interesting. They've been interesting, and they've been also empowering. I was just talking to my best friend the other day, and, because I had a very weird happenstance that really shook me up, and it sort of enraged me to feel this way. Um, and I was talking through it with him, and I got to the point where, he was trying to more so console me and such, in regards to the experience, because for me it was a bit traumatic. And I just had to tell him, I'm like, you know, I'm talking to you right now. It may sound like venting, but it's not necessarily that I'm venting to get it out per se, but I'm receiving downloads in this moment to understand the message, to understand the lesson, so that, whenever this occurs again, I know what it is. I can see it for what it is, and I don't have to attach myself to the actual experience. I can be an observer when it arises, and I can move accordingly. That can be a little bit stressful and draining at times, always trying to decode things and not necessarily living within that moment. However, when you are experiencing something that has extreme emotional energy, sometimes it does help to disassociate with what's happening in that moment and take it in objectivity, so that it doesn't linger onto you to form some sort of trauma bond. I've been learning that, and it's been helpful, because just walking through that moment with myself and in my mind, how I felt, even if I did have a dramatic reaction to whatever it was that I was experiencing in that very moment, because don't stop yourself from having the emotion or whatever you're feeling. Like, feel yourself through it, and then come to the other end of that situation and objectify it. Make it make sense to you, because a lot of times we're walking around with those traumas, and it's not even ours to hold on to. That experience was there to trigger some sort of emotive response, to bring up whatever it is that you need to learn or you need to heal from, just in your core, or an experience that you may need to take with you to show empathy to someone else, or to help someone else that's not having the best of time understanding, placing blame rightfully where it belongs, placing grace rightfully where it belongs, and being able to pick apart certain things for themselves. They may not necessarily be there. So I hope this video sort of helps you as well. Just with me sharing my experience, though I'm not sharing the exact happenstance, but just sharing my experience of how I walk myself through certain things. And it's helpful because I harbor on a lot of things, or excuse me, I used to. I used to harbor on a lot of things. I used to make a lot of things my fault. I used to blame myself for other people's actions, reactions, and I used to show up that way. So I did a lot of people pleasing. I allowed people to manipulate or abuse me in ways that shouldn't have been allowed. I overcorrected from those instances where I then became the aggressor, and that also did not work. So just learning to be objective in my thinking, picking things apart, picking apart experiences so that I know spiritually how it resonates with me, because nothing that comes towards us is in isolation of who we are. Nothing. So everything that we experience, we're experiencing it in a way that's allowing us to decode ourselves. No, that doesn't mean, if somebody is being aggressive towards you or somebody is tormenting you, that you are a tormentor or you're an aggressor. Maybe it's simply because you're a victim and they see that and they're attracted to the victim that is within you already. So just learning how to place things in their rightful place in my own life, in my own experience. I think I was speaking about that maybe a video or two ago, how everything will find its place. Everything is on a spectrum and it will be put into its rightful order. That's what's happening with this new energy that's coming in. And it's already here to get some straightening if you haven't noticed. These people are stepping down from these big companies. People in high places are being brought to justice and to trials to, stand in the place of the acts that they've committed. Something that we never think that we would have seen on such a large scale, but we're seeing it. And now is the time just for you within yourself, because worrying about what everybody else is doing on a larger grand scheme of things, sometimes it can really put you in a dark spot, because you see all of these things are happening. Yes, you have some people rejoicing, but some people don't know life outside of the current structure. And now that it's being dismantled right before our eyes, they have nothing to hold on to. So my advice to anybody that's listening to this is to become more objective in your experience that you're living on this earth. Really put things in the right perspective, in the right place as it pertains to you, because everything does pertain to you. Everything does pertain to me. We are all in this consciousness and this oneness together, and none of us are isolated from the things that we are able to directly witness. Everything that we witness, we have a trait of. Something within us either has something within us has attracted that energy to us for us to be able to observe it. Like I said, whether that is within you in your direct vicinity or something that you're coming across on the web or on TV and so on and so forth, this whole entire life is an algorithm, and it knows what you like. It knows exactly what your thoughts are. It knows what you dreamed about when you went to sleep. It knows. So those things will show up and you're walking everyday life. Someone told me the other day, he said, I can't wait until we get our powers. We already have them. We've already been walking into them and walking in them, should I say. The powers that you're speaking of is preferential treatment to manipulating the energies that are around us. That's mostly when you hear spiritualists, they say, I want my powers. I can't wait until I can fly and I can go invisible and so on and so forth. You just want preferential treatment to the energies that are all surrounding us. We all have those powers. It's not just going to be isolated to you. I'm very good at turning myself completely invisible. I know how to walk in a room and not be there. I've done it. I remember at one of my jobs, they nicknamed me Stealth, because I would come in and nobody would know I was there. And what made it even crazier is that I would sit in the middle of everybody. But I know how to make myself small. I know how to disappear. I know how to be in a place and not be there. So a lot of these powers that people are talking about is just a manipulation of energy. And the more observant you become in your surroundings, and the more observant you become in and of yourself, and how to wield the energy that is already within you in order to manifest your desired outcome, that is your power. That is our power. There's nothing outside of that. There's nothing that I can think of right now in my brain that doesn't already exist. Because once I thought it, it was already in existence. Same thing goes for you. So understanding why the things are happening around you, how they relate to you, the energy and magnetism that you possess, and why it is that you're receiving those things, that's all that matters. Outside of that, nothing else matters. Because what are you going to do? There's nothing that you can do physically that's going to make it stop happening. Nothing. There's nothing that you can do physically. Because even if you stop it in this particular instance with this person, with this thing, with this idea, with this corporation, business, job, coworker, once you make it stop with that particular instance, who's to say it's not to show up again in another vessel? Who's to say that it's not to show up again in another place? It's just like when I see these red pill men, and the women that align with it, it's hilarious because they don't want each other. So the red pill men are not looking for women that are aligning with their concepts. And yet they say that they do, because there are plenty of women that also align with those concepts. And they don't get chosen. Because ultimately they are screaming and crying out for acceptance by something that they are not in vibration with. They're not in vibration with it. So it won't happen. Once you get to a place where you're vibrating where you should be to attract the things, I don't even like using the word should. I feel like that's too harsh. Once you're vibrating in a place where you are attracting the things that are of a desire of yours, it will come. But the more you focus on what you don't want, it will come, because that's the energy that you're vibrating and you already feel as though that's what you deserve and that's what you need. You cry about it. You keep yourself in that energy, and that's what becomes of your experience. Well, I think this has been a beautiful video. I won't hold your ears any longer, at least for now. We'll have more videos, and I'm really looking forward to it. Glad to be here on this good Sunday and being able to share my thoughts with you all. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. I'm really happy about the way my YouTube channel is going, even with my 13 subscribers. I am very grateful for each and every last one of you. Though I don't know you by name, I'm really glad that you're here. I'm glad for everybody that is new that is watching. And please feel free to leave a comment. I'll be glad to have this conversation with you there.